All right, guys, welcome to eChannel News. This is the most exciting news that we're going to give you for sure in 2024. We've got Mariana. She's the co-founder and CEO of HACKERverse, a company called HACKERverse. And we've got Craig. He's also the co-founder. And these two amazing humans have sort of joined forces with us into producing something cool for the entire community. They've been working on something called the World Hacker Games, where we pivot hackers against vendors, and we figure out who wins this battle. No one dies. That's the spoiler alert. But you get in, right? And we're going to be doing this every month, and we're going to go every 3 weeks, and we're going to try to go every 2 weeks, and we're going to go as far as we can go, because a lot of vendors out there, a lot of hackers out there, and who else to really proof a product, right? If it really works or not, than hackers. Like, I'd like to have the badge that says, no hacker has penetrated me for like ever, right? So that'll be really cool. Playing in the words here, but welcome, Mariana, and welcome, Craig. How are you guys doing?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. Really, really appreciate it and thrilled to be chatting with you.
I am super stoked. So let's just jump into this one step at a time. First of all, what's life over there, Mariana? What do you guys do? What do you do?
Well, yeah, we do a lot of things. It changes from day to day. Sometimes I feel like I'm a juggler juggling all the things. But yeah, so this really kind of came together. I joined forces with Craig, who's the original brainchild of this, and I'll hand it off to him in just a second to kind of talk about the inception of this idea. But really came together over the understanding that buyers really need a lot more autonomy in the purchasing process, whether you're an MSSP, sourcing for software for your clients, or you're an individual, you're a CISO practitioner looking for tools to best meet the needs of your team. It's really, really hard. And you're addressing this with cybersecurity defense ecosystem. The whole reason you have this organization, or a main reason, is to be able to help organizations find better tools that meet their needs. It's way too hard, despite the fact that cybersecurity, as we know, is a continually growing and pressing issue. So join forces with Craig to solve that problem. And so the answer to that is HACKERverse. So we do several things. So first, it's an automated demo marketplace, so buyers can come in, kick the tires on all sorts of tools that they're considering on their own time without having to first contact a vendor sales team. So again, autonomy in the purchasing process. The second thing that we're doing, and we're, with the focus of our conversation today, is going to be on the World Hacker Games. And so really, really excited about this. It is generating a lot of excitement in the industry, and I think waking up people to the possibilities that are inherent within the industry, but really haven't been tapped. We really want to make this fun and exciting. And essentially what we do, as you were talking about, was pitting these vendor products in these live CTF environments and see how they perform. I think there's been a lot of talk in the industry about these products and how well they perform. This product performs 100% of the time in 100% of the places, and that's just not true. And if you're making that claim, shame on you, first of all. But buyers really need to see the efficacy of these products, and we want to make that as fun and as exciting as possible. We're pitting our team of ethical hackers from the Hacker Army in these CTF competitions against these vendor products and seeing how they perform. And it's awesome. People love it. It's great for vendors and buyers. So that's the second thing we do. The third is really bringing folks in the cybersecurity industry together through our community. And it's a huge part of what we're doing. We really want to be the home for ethical hackers, practitioners, CISOs, who are looking for a different way to do things in this industry. So those are kind of the three main things that we really focus on. And then I'll pass it back to Craig, who can kind of talk about the inception and what kind of brought this whole thing together.
Well, just before Craig jumps in there, so we support this 100%. I don't think that we can go 110%. People say that, but it's only 100% apparently. So we're all in with this stuff. And Craig, first of all, how did you get into this, right? And what happened? You woke up one day and said, "Hey, let's have a battle."
I've been waking up every day and thinking different things. Serious ADHD. Well, so it's been in the works for a long time. Mariana did an excellent job explaining. That's why she's the CEO. They keep me in the closet for a reason. But so this is what we're doing, and I'll make a distinction. HACKERverse is the platform, and the community, and the World Hacker Games is the event. And you can think of it as technical marketing on fire. So what I've been doing, and sometimes referred to as the king of technical marketing, over the past 23 years, I've been honing that craft. And one of the things I discovered is I'm really good at finding the value in showing it off in an entertaining way. And so just 3 years ago, thank God for COVID, it pushed me through a bunch of different companies, and I started doing these demos for these road shows and standing up exactly what an arena is today. It's got a guy hacking, it's got a sandbox and a vendor product. Okay, let's throw some threats at it and see if it catches it. And the light bulb went on when one of the major vendors wasn't catching a very basic threat or attack. And so that's when I had an epiphany. And then, the whole technical marketing, we used to have to do that in data centers, right? Back in the day, spend millions of dollars, all the blinky lights, fly the customers in. Well, everything's in the cloud, everything's automated, everything's in the software repo. So that combined with this, and it's like, oh my God, we can do this. We can do technical marketing on a grand scale. And it's so needed because, there are how many vendors out in the market that, and people are confused, right? I was at a small company doing CISO kind of things and looking at a budget. And, one of the vendors quoted 70 grand a year. And like, we can't even spend 15. So the buying side of it must be just absolutely exhausted, right? And plus there's all this other stuff. So that we, the time is now, and we can do it.
Yeah.
And we're turning the corner in the industry, and so that's how this all started.
Good. Well, you know what? I'm glad you woke up that day and figured that stuff out because, it's exactly what this industry needs. Cybersecurity ain't sexy. It's pretty much boring. As a matter of fact, if you ever watch someone hack, you can almost fall asleep. It's not an exciting thing. It's not like the movies for sure, right? But the reality is that the end game is critical because all things being equal, can a hacker penetrate, yes or no? And then the game is how easy it was, how fast it was, et cetera, et cetera. And you and I consider all day long and listen to all the 4,000 to 6,000 cybersecurity vendors tell us why nobody will penetrate them, or their favorite thing now is it's 99.9%. They're always giving that extra. But it might be 90% good, might be 80% good. I'd want to know that, right? And in the game of cybersecurity protection, you got to make sure that all of those things you spin up in your tech stack is working. Because if one of those things is sort of like not really working well, then you've got a problem, right? And we kind of all notice, right? Because the hackers apparently they're not getting dumber, they're getting smarter.
No.
And with AI, they're getting even super smarter. So at the end of the day, this is the game we're playing, right? And even though we make a little fun with calling the World Hacker Games, right? It is serious biz, all right? Yes. Because I want to know, right? The number one question that MSPs ask me is, Julian, you're interviewing hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of these cybersecurity companies, and they all sound so good. Yes. I like them all. How do I evaluate these companies? How do I know if it really works? How do I know what I don't know? And of course, I have to do the usual thing, which I normally do, which is, I don't know, right? So the reality, though, is like shifting this over to the real test of time is that I think most companies in the cybersecurity world, they use their own pen testing organizations, red teams, and so on to really see if their thing has what it takes, right? I think they're doing this, right? But this is an independent way of doing it, right? And I love this as well because it's not just, I've got a technology stack of like 10 things and I'm this company A, see if you can, break into me. That's cool. I like to see that as well, right? But this is a one-on-one, all right? It doesn't get more specific than the gladiators, right? One-on-one. Let's see who really wins this. And I think at the end of this, the industry is going to be bigger, better, stronger, and smarter because of it. And this is why I'm all in with it. It's a fun thing to do, cool. We'll give out some prizes and stuff. We'll see who wins and all. But I think this is good for the cybersecurity industry. And so therefore, the World Hacker Games is going to be all in, all over, and MSPs can get involved in it. You can invite your customers. You can take recordings of it. You can show your customers. I mean, this is going to be everywhere, right?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about the process a little bit, right? So
Mhm.
you've got a whole bunch of cool hackers that you know who know their stuff. And how do you rally them together? How did they get into the game? And how do we figure out who's the winner?
I'll pass that off to you, Craig. That's your baby.
Yeah, it's a good question. So, I mean, we've got 50, I call it the HACKERverse army,
Right.
and in sort of bringing them in with the the promise of you get to do this special pen testing and red teaming. Some of them are students, and that's okay because they're super talented and skilled. But you know, we're going to continue to grow that army, and we give them things in return to get them to come in and stay. Actually, they just want to hack and they want to learn new hacks. And one of the draws is one of the things that we do is like, you know, if you look at the CVE index, it's a lot of things that are yesterday. We know about them, they're identified. But what our red team arena builders do, and they're super talented and we're blessed to have them, is they'll come up with something new overnight, or they'll see something that just came up in the news, like Silent Bob. We did that, and they're like, "Oh, we can build that," and they build it overnight and stand it up into an arena. And so the pen testers, I want to learn how to hack that because it goes on my record as, "Hey, I know this stuff, up my skill strength, right?" And you know, another thing we're going to be doing is offering hacker cred, right? So if you participate in so many games and you make it so many levels, you know, you get status, and you know, there's a whole micro culture of ethical hackers that just love that kind of thing. And so we're providing that environment.
And Craig, if they want to become a hack, if they want to be participating, right, join the army, how do they do it? I mean, they'll reach out to us, of course, and then we just, you know, qualify them and boom, they're in, right?
Yeah, well, you can go to the website, hackerverse.co/contact. Shoot us a message. Most people just reach out to me on LinkedIn because we're advertising there.
Yeah,
and
we
then,
also, I was going to say, we also have the Discord community where they can reach out as well and get involved. Yeah, so we mentioned the certification, but I think, you know, the grander plan, long-term vision for this that we've been, you know, tossing around, Julian, is really like how we change the conversation and elevate the profiles of these individuals who want to be in this game, right? So I think that's the long-term vision for us and our community and our platform, is that we are the home, the destination for maybe the freelance ethical hacker, where they can have their profiles, you know, their creds, their videos, their highlight reels, get paid for these, you know, participate in these events. There's big things coming, NASCAR style sponsorships, perhaps TBD. It's you know, it's coming down the pike. So get involved now before we get flooded with requests of people. So get in the action now. That would be my call out.
Yeah, and double clicking. Yeah, go ahead. I wanted to double click one thing, Craig, before you jump in. You know, one of the things about you know, I want to say the generation that we're dealing with right now, right? I mean, yeah, you can play a lot of these games, you know, Call of Duty. There's a lot of cool games out there, but you know, they may not make you that much money unless you're really to the top of the top of the top, right? So you know, e-games aside, right? This is actually something that's practical, right? And so by participating, you're going to have a ton of eyeballs looking at you, which means this is going to become one of the best job recruitment, scouting type things, but not for basketball stars, you know, for hacker stars, right? And the audience that we're talking to, the hundreds of thousands of channel partners and vendors, they want, you know, people with skills, right, in this area. So your skills is not just about, let's just do some hacking and have a little bit of fun, but it's actually, I don't want to say a job fair, but you're trying now to become an all-star, right? So I just wanted to add that in there before you jump in there, Craig. So sorry to disrupt, but carry on.
No problem. I did want to mention on the vendor side of things, because you touched on it, you know, there's huge value in competition. And it's just sort of an accepted part of our society now. We're really up leveling the table stakes on the industry competition, right? So if you've got 5 vendors in the same space, their products, they have different value and they're probably mediocre at best, right? Okay, that's going to change, because now when they step in the ring, they're going to have to really up their game. Their usability, the way it looks and feels and operates, you know, the fact that it can actually stop a number of threats instantly and do it quickly and provide value to a business. all of that's going to level up. And like you said, it's going to make the industry bigger and better. And that's the ultimate goal, is to bring some competition, some entertainment value, and get these guys to put their money where their mouth is.
So one last question on the actual process. So you've got your army of hackers, right? We've already got the first few vendors lined up. So if you're a vendor out there listening up to this and you want to, put yourself out there and join the competition, right? You're welcome, right? Throw the hat in the ring. Let us know, and we will queue you up, and everybody can join the battle if they want to. And again, just to double check as well that if you do want to join on the red side of the hacker team, right? Reach out and just see how you can get involved in there. It's not a complicated process, right? But it's just a way for us to kind of bring the community together. So what other stuff do you want people to know, Craig? What do you want everybody to know about this?
I think it's just, it's probably a lot of things. I think it's just the beginning of something big. I think, what we're trying to do with our first handful of customers in the queue is to make sure that they pop and pop big. But I think, I think the most important thing, especially for a vendor, is, your funnel's dry, and we know it's dry because we've been living that pain for the last 3 to 4 years. Nobody reads white papers, nobody goes to webinars. PowerPoint is dead. There has to be an alternative method to get the word out. And actually, if you watch one of our testimonials where Seth from SpiderBat said exactly this, is like, we needed a new way to get the word out, and we wanted to put our money where our mouth is. And so they did three events with us, and exactly that happened. They had a funnel, but it was stale. What this did was it helped refire that up and get some of their customers further along in that funnel. So in terms of a new and different way of getting the word out, this is perfect for the people.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I guess like what Craig said, there's so many things. But no, I would echo everything that he said in terms of value proposition for vendors. I would also say, one of the biggest challenges I think many new up and coming cybersecurity vendors have is that people will purchase on name brand recognition, right? And that's not just exclusive to cybersecurity. The Palo Altos, the CrowdStrikes, the Armises, the Mimecasts, the whatevers. If that works for companies, fine. But there are so many new and incredible up and coming products out there that are just having a hard time breaking out into the market, but have incredible technology that they are building. And so we are a great opportunity for these companies who have new and up and coming technology. Like I was talking about before we started to hit record, thinking about AI technology. This is a brand new category, essentially, that we, in my brain, are going to be cornering, because they're going to be the home of AI cybersecurity tooling. Companies using AI, as well as companies protecting against the threat of AI. There's everybody's running willy-nilly to adopt all of these AI tools in their tech stack, and they're just like not thinking about the threat vector that opens up, right? So that's one thing I would say. And then the other is, going back a couple minutes ago to your point about esports, that's, really who we are. We're defining the category, cybersecurity esports. We are the home of that. It hasn't been done before. That's who we are. So when you think about cybersecurity esports, you will know that it is the HACKERverse and home of the World Hacker Games and the Hacker Army. So come join us.
Loving it. So this is a ground floor opportunity. We're kicking the ball off, so to speak. So it's just the first round, and we're going to do something spectacular with this. And that's why we are in this game as well, right? A couple of things. Cybersecurity has to also work, of course.
Yes.
But it also has to be affordable.
Yes.
Right. So it's really fantastic that enterprise can have, $1 million budget to, do cybersecurity, right? Which is really cool. Right. But then what about all the other folks? Right. And the reality is that all these companies, thousands of vendors that is on the market, they're coming out with things that maybe even some of the larger, more traditional companies have not thought about yet. So they may change the game. And I also like to say that in the world of cybersecurity, the largest companies in the market don't own such a large market share, right? They're all like single-digit market shares, right? That means there is no giant yet defined in the cybersecurity space. So it's anybody's game still. Thousands of companies are in the market space, and I certainly interview them in eChannel News almost every day. Well, every day I do interview them, not almost. And we actually see some interesting things that they're doing, right? So these things is what's gonna collectively solve this problem. And what I really love is about the fact that we're not only going to be able to have a little bit of fun in showing how the hackers and stuff interact with these vendors, but also have a very simple way for everybody, channel partners, MSPs, MSSPs, SOCs, and end users to say, hey, you know what? I want that solution. Because when I saw that, the hackers couldn't get in, right? Or it was very difficult. Or on the other flip side, the team on the vendors, they were very, very proactive in making sure that they defended it, right? And remember, even though that hack may have happened, well, that vendor now knows that opportunity, right? That hack.
Right.
So therefore, they're going to be plugging that hole. Well, there we go. One more hole that's being plugged, right? So you plug that hole, come back again. Maybe we'll find another hole, right? So there's lots of things. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but we are thinking like way far light speed ahead here. And we think this is going to be a game changer, not just the World Hacker Games. It's going to be a way for people to measure the actual quality and the way the solution works, yes or no, right? And not dependent on a human or somebody to say, yeah, it works, or the marketing brochure or whatever they say. So I think this has a lot of wings. It's going to fly and soar. We're going to, do our part to make it happen. So join us. How do you join us? It's simple. You'll see information flashing everywhere as we go forward. You can watch it live if you want. You can get the recording. You can watch it later on. We'll be pushing it out in pretty much every, podcast, social media thing that's out there. So it's up to you how you want to check it out. We'll be running them live on our websites as well. And later on, we're going to try to bake this into our live events. So we're going to have this virtual thing going on, but then we're going to have an actual live thing going on. So ... to be continued. I'll leave you with the last word. Who wants the last word? Craig, Mariana, both of you. Your call. Not you.
Last word. Yeah. I mean, join us. I think that's really it. I think the possibilities are endless. Like, we're really changing the conversation on cybersecurity. It's really exciting. I've had hundreds of conversations about what we're doing at this point, and there has been nothing but extreme excitement about it. So the opportunity is there, and we're seizing it. That's
me too. All right. So all the links are going to be in this thing. We're going to be pushing that everywhere. So I can't wait to see this stuff. I'm really excited. I'm not very excited very much in the IT industry, but here we go. All right, my friends. Have a fantastic day, and we shall see you. What's first? Well, we'll put the dates as well, right? But it's in February.
February 22nd. Yeah, February 22nd, featuring Plex Track. So yeah, come see them in action. Yes.
All right. First one out of the gate. Let's see what happens. All right. Cheers.